All right, welcome to week 4. We're going to go ahead and start here. Let's open up Illustrator, get this going. You're going to create a new document. Now today we're going to work on combining shapes. I'll just call it combining shapes. We'll have one artboard. Just go ahead and hit OK. Now what we're going to do is we are going to create a couple of different shapes here starting off. I'm going to draw a perfect square. I'll do that by just creating a square with the shape tool and then making sure that my shift key is pushed as I drag it out. That will constrain it so that it's a perfect square. Then I'm going to come back over here to my shape tools and get the circle or the ellipse, and I'm going to make a perfect circle as well. So I want to start off with these two shapes. Now what we're going to do is make a suit of cards, so a club, spade, heart, and diamond. Let's start off with the easy one. First going to grab this shape here. Now as I select my square, I'll push the option, and I'm going to, as it drags, it will duplicate it. So I'm going to have a second object. I'm going to go to my rotate tool, and I'm going to double click on that rotate tool and rotate this at 45 degrees. And it will create a diamond. Now, this is almost a diamond. What we're going to do now is get our scale tool. And with the scale tool, we'll start out a little ways away from the shape at a diagonal and scale it up. Now, if you look at this again, here's my center point. That's what it's going to scale around. Now I'm going to click here and drag toward it and up a little bit. And it will compress these two sides and it will stretch that out. Now that's our diamond, and we're done with that. That was easy, right? So now let's go to our heart. That will be the next shape. I'll select my circle and push option as I drag it so that it will move that around. Now I'm going to scale that a little bit, make it just a little bigger. And now I'm going to go to my white arrow. This is going to help me create a heart out of this shape. Now feel free to stop and pause along the way if you want to see things or you want to go back and review them. Notice I'm duplicating these because I'm going to need these shapes here later. So I'll select this, I'm going to drag it down, drag that anchor point down like that. Now if I push shift, notice that I want to select just that anchor point. I can get my white arrow and drag over the top of that. I'll start dragging and I'll push shift. That will constrain it so it won't go to the left or right. It will just go straight up and down. Now when I get there, I'm also going to come down here to that bottom anchor point. I'm going to select that and I'm going to drag that down just a little bit. Now this is the basis for our heart. I'll go get the pen tool, push my option key so that I get the convert tool, and I'm going to drag this up and to the right. And that will break that path, or break those handles, so they'll function independently. I want to kind of keep an idea of where this is, so I want to get my rulers out. Now, rulers will give me guidelines that will help me kind of keep track of where I am. So I'm going to go to Window, Rulers. Let's see here. I'm trying to remember where to see them. We'll do this. So Window, nope. Just push Command R. That will give you your rulers. Or if you're on a PC, it'll be Control R, I believe. So we'll go here, up to here, and I'm going to drag this path down to right there. Now the advantage of this is I know where that handle is going to end, and I have a general idea of the distance between them and the angle. So now I'll go ahead and push my Command key. I'm going to click on that anchor point so I get the other handle, and now I can drag this up so that now I get those at roughly the same place, and then they're going to have the same consistent angle there. Now I've got to come in and change this as well. So I'm going to get my convert tool again. I'm going to click and drag on that handle. Now you'll see as I drag, it's going to create that other handle that's going the other direction. All I have to do is push my option key while I'm on my pen tool, push my option key, and I'm going to click and drag that up like that. Now I could, if I wanted to, I undid, Command Z, undid. I'm going to drag this guideline down to here. That will also give me the option of clicking and dragging this up like that so that I know it's coming to the same spot. Now if it's not quite the heart that I want, I might grab that. I'll push the shift key and drag it down, and then I can just come in here with my wide arrow and I can move those handles just a little bit more to get a little better shape. So there's my heart. Okay. Now the next key is I want to make my spade. Well, this is the basis for my spade. So I'm going to simply select that and push the Option key and drag it over. Then I'll go to my Rotate tool. I'm going to double click on it and rotate it 180 degrees so it's upside down. And now that's good so far. But what I've got to do now is create the little tail right here. I'm going to go ahead and I can actually delete this. So I'm going to select it and hit backspace. I'm going to click on this and duplicate it by pushing the Option key and dragging it over till it's about right here. Now I'll get my pen tool and I'm going to get rid of that handle, or that anchor point right there. And now to make this curved, I'm going to go ahead and put my pen tool over the top of this point and push the Option key and hold that down. Now I'll drag this straight down. Now I can click on this handle and I can drag this to the exact same spot, and I'm going to get that rounded shape right there. I'm going to drag it up a little bit, and then just to make sure that this is all centered, I'm going to select both of those, go to my Align palette, and I'm going to horizontally align it. And the nice thing is if it's off like this, I select both of them and I'll align it. Now sometimes we'll have that selected and we'll try to align it and nothing will happen. We keep clicking, click, 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 nothing will happen. It's because in order to align, you've got to have two objects, or two or more objects selected to align. Now I'm going to change this to black. Oops, I changed the stroke color. I've got to get the fill color to the foreground, change that to black. Alright, now the next thing I want to do is make my club. So I'm going to get my circle. I'm going to drag it down here, and I'm actually going to scale it a little bit. So, let's do this. Object, Arrange, Bring to Front. Now that will be on top of it. I'm going to scale that just a little bit so we're a little closer in the size. And then I'm going to drag this across. So I'll push with my arrow selected, I'm going to push the Option key so it will duplicate it. I'm going to start dragging. Then I'm going to push the Shift key so that it will stay together. Now, at that point, I'm going to select this circle, and I'm going to push the Option key to duplicate it. But I'm not going to push the Shift key. This time I'm just going to drag it up. If I push the Shift key, it's going to constrain it at 45 degrees. I don't want that. I want to have a little more control. Now if I'm a little off center, that's okay, because I can select that, push my Shift key, hold that down, and select this object, have my Shift key down and select that one, so all three are selected. And now I can go to Distribute on my Align palette, and I'm going to distribute it by the center point, so it will distribute equally between these 3 points. You'll see that that moves. Now, I want this to be one piece, so if I select these, right now there are a couple of things that we should examine here. I'm going to move some of these around a little bit to give me a little more space. We'll do this. I can make those black, but I've got to make that a solid fill. Now if I want the base of this, it's great because I've already built it. I can select this and I can drag it right over here. Now, I don't want to align these yet or anything yet. What I can do is select these three and go to Object Group. And that's great because now they'll move together. Okay? But I've got this white hole in there. Well, I can also put a little black circle to cover it. But the problem is those are still all individual shapes. Even though they're grouped, they're individual shapes. What I really want to do is select these three. I'm going to go to a palette called the Pathfinder palette. And you're going to see different palettes that are associated here. This first one will unite objects. In other words, it will take these three objects. If I click here, it will combine them so they're all one shape. Let me show you what we did. If I go to Command Y or View Outline, you'll see that there are three shapes here. With that selected, and if I click Unite, it combines them so that they become one shape. Right. Now this is a compound path. You have the outside part, and then you have the inside part. I'm going to go back to our preview. Now I want to get rid of this shape. The thing about the shape right now is it's see-through, so we can see other things through it. What I need to do is get rid of that. So I'm going to go ahead, excuse me, I'm going to go ahead and select this, get my white arrow, and I'm going to click here. That will allow me to select just that part. Notice the rest of this is not selected. I can select just that part and hit delete twice, and it will get rid of it. So you've got rid of that part here. It's back in there. Now I can take these two objects and I'm going to go ahead and align them centered. When I've got them aligned to the center, I can go ahead and hit my Pathfinder and unite those so they're the same shape. I'm going to get my guide and I'm going to drag that down here. So these are at the same level. That's good. Drag this, bring that down. This is a little high, so I'm going to select it, push shift and drag it down. Now select both of those by using my black arrow and just clicking and dragging over both of them. And I'm going to unite those shapes so that they're one shape as well. And so by using the Pathfinder palette, we can come in and scale these down and make them larger or smaller, adjust their sizes a little bit so that they maybe work a little better. In this case we'll do both of these like that, so that size-wise they're a little better. But using our Pathfinder palettes, our Align palettes, and then by creating individual shapes and manipulating them with the pen tool, we're able to get all of these shapes from a rectangle and a square. Now you're going to come back, we'll come back and we're going to see another lesson. Our next one will actually involve using the Pathfinder and the Align. We're going to be creating some individual paths, and we're going to be working with something called gradients. So we'll see you soon.